Welcome to the Dice Tower, a series of video reviews about board and card games. Here are your hosts, Tom Vasel and Sam Healey.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel.
Sam Healey, hello everyone.
Today we're taking a look at Portal of Morth.
Such a great name.
Well, I guess, you know, it's unique.
Sarcastic.
Well, if you search for the word Morth,
It's probably...
you will find this game.
Yes.
Though, I don't know. This game is from Spain. It's a tower defense game. There's a lot of those out there lately, I think. But this one has something I bet you haven't seen in a game before.
That's
Have you?
Probably very true. No, I don't think so.
All right. Do you like tower defense games on the computer?
Every once in a while, yeah. I'm not enamored with them, but they pass the time well, and they're slightly engaging, so yeah.
All right. I like them a lot, although I don't... There's so many of them, I don't play all of them. I just play a few.
Yeah.
But this is certainly like one of those. Here's how it plays.
So generally speaking, the game is going to last 5 rounds, and each round, for example, in a 2-player game, will have 2 phases in each round. Idea is that monsters will be coming on. Your characters are going to be trying to fight them off so that they don't reach the end of their track. Whenever they reach the end of the track, you're going to be taking damage whenever they do that. 1 damage for each monster. Generally speaking, some might do a little bit more than that. And then at the end of the game, once the end of round 5 happens, whoever has the least amount of damage is the winner. As we look at the different things that you can do, first of all, you have different kinds of people available to you. For example, this one is a fighter. They're doing physical attack strength, and they can attack the orthogonal places adjacent to wherever that person is. There is an experience mark tracker on the front, on the top of it, and then there are also ways for you to upgrade your characters by paying a combination of gold and or experience points. Now, kind of the central mechanism to Portal of Morth is the Lord Morth phase, which is where we are going to figure out exactly how many dice are going to be rolled and where they're going to be placed on the board. So in the Portal of Morth phase, we look here on the round tracker, and it gives us the information. So in round 1, in the first wave, we're going to be rolling 4 dice from the green bag. Now, the green bag has 2 different kinds of monsters in it. They have yellow and green monsters. The orange bag has orange monsters. The red bag has red monsters. So what we would do here is we would randomly take out 4 monsters from the bag. So here, in this case, we have 2 green and 2 yellow, and we would roll them into this dice tray. So we'll just have them up here, and they'll roll that way. All right, so at this point, there would also be a portal phase. Now, in the portal phase, that's when at the end of the portal phase, these guys are going to actually come onto the board. But before that happens, each player has the chance to spend gold in order to rotate this one way or another. For each click, it would take 1 gold apiece. So what would happen here is that this monster would come out on the yellow gate on the blue board. So he's going to come out here. But we're going to first of all check to make sure he is rotated up to his highest level, and he is. These 2 things mean that he moves 0 and he has 2 hit points. All right, at the end of the portal phase, we then go into the hero phase. The hero phase is where you are able to buy and upgrade heroes, and you can also move and perform actions or attacks. Each of the player's characters have different attributes. They both are doing 2 damage, although one, the priest is doing 2 spiritual damage, while the fighter is doing 2 physical damage. The priest can move 3 spaces, whereas the fighter here can only move 2 spaces. And it's important to note here that you can only move orthogonally. You cannot move diagonally in this game. So 1, 2, 3. Now what that's going to do is, if you see here, he's going to be affecting this square, which isn't going to hurt any monsters, and any other diagonal squares there. So he's basically covering the 5 space right now. then the fighter only has a movement of 2. So we're going to go 1, 2, and cover that space right there. Then finally, during the assault phase, we would actually move the guys. We would roll the movement marker, movement die as well, though. And that means she's going to move 1, so this person is just going to move there. This person, however, is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and be right there. So then we move down the Lord Morth marker to the next one, and now we're going to be rolling 5 dice out of here. So we get out 5 dice and roll them that way. Okay, wow, blue really took a beating on that one. And then, of course, we have to dial up to make sure that each of those monsters is at their maximum hit points. And then during the heroes phase, we can buy and upgrade heroes, which we don't have any experience points or gold. I mean, we've got the 3 gold, but we can't really pay anything. The cheapest thing that we have is either 6 or 7. But then we also do have moving and acting. Now, the thing is that you can move and attack at the same time. So what we're first going to do here is blue player. This is done simultaneously. So here blue player is just going to go 1 over, and then we're going to do our attack there. And he does 2 spiritual attack. This guy is affected by both, and he only has 1 hit point. So hit comes and he's toast. So he's moved 1, 2, and 3. And then this guy over here is simply going to get into position. He's just going to go 1 and 2 so that maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to knock somebody out on next turn. But the yellow player gets 1 experience point here, and then that player also gets a gold. Then on the next phase, we move down. In Lord Morth phase, we're going to be rolling 4 dice from the green bag and 2 dice from the orange bag. And so this is where it starts to pick up a little bit. We take 4 dice out of the green bag, and then we take 2 dice out of the orange bag, and we take them and roll them all together. All right, and so now we would have the opportunity to rotate, spending 1 gold per click. But no, it doesn't matter because blue's going to get 2 monsters no matter what I do. But red might choose to do it. Just to even things out a little bit. I think he will. Red's going to use 1 and click this just like that so that it's a little bit more even. We're each getting 3 monsters. Okay, during the heroes phase, the blue player doesn't have enough to upgrade either of his heroes, but the red player does. So we are going to upgrade the red player here. We're going to make it to where his priest has the blast damage, where he can harm more than 1 monster in that space. So he's going to have to spend 6 to do that. So he'll spend 1 experience point and then 5 gold to equal the 6 that's necessary. And that's pretty much how the game goes. There are a couple of different things. Some of the monsters interact with the board differently than others. For example, these little goblin guys will change tracks. For example, if he's coming down the yellow here, when he hits the red, the blue, he'll start moving down the blue. When he hits the green, he'll start moving down this way. So these guys change course whenever they're going through the track, but generally speaking, you move throughout the board, you attack as many as you can. Some of them are going to break through, which are going to cause damage, and whoever has the least amount of damage at the end of the game wins.
All right, this box is heavy.
Very heavy.
There is a lot of stuff in here.
Yep.
A lot of punch boards, a ton of dice. The dice are pretty close to Quarrior's dice.
Yes.
They
very similar.
They look like Quarrior's dice. There's that plastic, what did the one guy call it? The orange squeezer?
Yes. The juicer, the orange juicer.
The orange juicer. There's a lot of boards. There's just a lot in the game. Teaching the game is less complex than it seems.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, but it's all easy mechanisms thrown together. So it's easy to teach, but just seems daunting at first.
Does it feel like a tower defense game?
Very, very much so. And that's one of the things that really kind of drew me towards it, was the fact that it was a tower defense game that really kind of went in the vein of other those flash tower defense games that you find on miniclip.com and that type of stuff.
Yeah, really, your towers, you have heroes, but they're essentially mobile towers.
Right.
They're walking around and killing the units. And the game has a few differences between the units, but it's not that complex. Like, oh, this guy can only be killed with physical attacks. Right. Well, easy enough to remember.
Right.
I do wish they had included a few more player references.
Yeah, player references would have been better. There's really just the one that you can pass around, and it would have been better to have 4 or more. Really, just depends.
And again, I love the dice. I love the trays and stuff. My only problem would be the board is a little bland. There's a little bit like
it just looks like I don't know, when you have everything looked out together, it almost looks like a kind of deranged quilt. So I mean, it was just not very inviting. I mean, it was definitely functional. That was there, but it just didn't look very good. So there's the aesthetic lacking.
Yeah, I do like the fact that they have the yellow and the blue heroes, although I'm telling you, every time I teach this game, I have to explain. People have this hard concept. You can have 2 of the same. One's yellow, one's blue.
Yep.
But what does yellow mean? Nothing. It's just a different color than blue.
Just so you can keep track of your stats, that's all.
Now, the coolest thing of this game, by far, is the dropping the dice down and seeing where they go into the gates.
Yeah, that's really the core mechanic of the game.
And I really love that. That to me, just brings it up points because it's neat. And I love to see that concept used in other games.
Yep.
And then being able to spend money to rotate it, to go where it goes. It's just an interesting concept.
Right.
We did house rule our game to where when you dropped them, that's where whatever side the monster landed on, that's the side they stayed on. Instead of finding each one and going to the highest one, it seems like that's a...
Even if everybody does their own dice that come to their board, or in a cooperative game, everybody kind of helps out, you're still adding a good 15, 20 minutes to the game just flipping dice over the course of the game.
Well, flipping dice as you kill the monsters is fine.
No, I understand that. Rotating them down as you... That's keeping track of hit points. But that initial, after during the portal phase, when you're moving it to the board, picking it up and having to find, okay, well, where's the... That takes a lot of time, adds a lot of time, and it's fiddly, and it's just annoying.
Other than that, I really like the upgrading of the players. That's really cool. They feel different, although they're not dramatically different.
Yeah.
I like that each person's 4th character is different. Now, what do you think about competitive versus cooperative?
Originally, I thought that it would probably be better as a cooperative game, but after playing it cooperatively, I think I like it better as the competitive version. Sharing the gold it just kind of felt strange. It didn't seem right that the whole group shares the gold, but then you keep track of your individual experience. I don't understand why you had to do that. It would have been fine for me if each player kept track of their own gold and their own experience and still play cooperatively. I just didn't understand that rule. It didn't make sense, and it felt kind of like a welfare system. When we were playing a cooperative game, I was having trouble because I was a fighter. I was just moving twice, while the other guy that was on my board was moving 3, and he was just able to move around a lot faster. So he was killing everything before I was able to get to it. And so everybody had leveled up, and I hadn't yet. And there just came this spot where they were like, "Oh yeah, we all need to help Sam level his character up because he's not doing anything." That completely ruined the cooperative experience for me.
So you like it better competitively?
Yeah, absolutely.
I do think that's probably true. My only thing is, I wonder in the competitive game, since you pay money to rotate the wheel. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can pay, and then Sam can pay to rotate it back, which kind of is like this very anticlimactic thing. Click, click. Sam pays to go. Click, click, right back.
Yeah, I guess you could look at it that you're forcing them to pay that money so that they then cannot use that money to buff up their characters or to buy a new character or something to that effect. So I could see where people would be saving up enough cash in order to do more than one thing during their turn. And then you click it, and then they are forced, rather, to click it back, and now they can't do both of those things that they wanted to do. They can only do one of them. So I can see where it could generate some tension, but again, a lot like finding the most, the strongest side of the die. It's just a little fiddly.
So overall, I'm a big fan of the game. I think it could be slightly more dynamic, maybe have more hit points, be able to do more. The game starts out a little slow and ramps up as time goes by. Right. And you also have to come to the conclusion, hey, some monsters are going to get through no matter what I do. Yep. And your goal is to let as few through as possible. But I think the concept's cool. Most tower defense games, there's one tower,
right.
Everything's coming in at you. This one feels like they actually are, where there's these paths they move on. I really enjoy it. I think it's very unique and intriguing, and while it has some flaws and minor problems, overall I think it's a pretty cool experience. So I'm going to give it 1.5 arrow towers up. Definitely cool. I'd like to see maybe the second version. I think could be an amazing game, but a very strong first showing, cool components, and a neat concept.
I'm going to give it one. I noticed this guy the other day. There's a dude with a rifle here in the middle of a fantasy thing. So I'm going to give it one rifleman who is out of time up.
That's a Balrog. This is like Gandalf fighting a Balrog on the bridge.
It is.
And the guy's shooting it with a rifle.
And the guy, he's got a plasma rifle over there. He's like from 40K, but he got, I don't know, he stepped through the wrong portal, I guess. So I'll give it one 40K plasma rifleman up.
Certainly interesting, certainly unique. That's Portal of Morth.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.